DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
To start the show here on a Monday night. What's up, Delaware? We are back here in our studios in Wilmington here on DETV. A special shout out to Dennis Pritchett, who's again starting the trolling pretty early here into the show on a Monday. Tampa Bay and Philadelphia getting to go to battle here a little bit later on. 7:15 kickoff on ESPN. A doubleheader here on Monday night. Going to have to get used to that here, as that's going to be the case a couple times here in 2023 and going forward, thanks to those new rights deals and the purchases ESPN had for the NFL. But guys, here we are. We're back. It's been an interesting weekend. A lot to get into. The Dolphins, they dropped 70 on the Broncos and Sean Payton yesterday. Talk a little bit about the Colts and the Ravens a little bit later. We'll preview Monday Night Football. Cowboys go down, not to the Eagles, a different bird. The Cardinals take down Dallas as 11.5-point underdogs. So a lot to talk about. We'll recap week number 3. We'll get to Dennis's question of the week here shortly. We'll preview Monday Night Football. We'll get some individual takes from around the sports world here this weekend and got some other segments that we're going to get to as well. So here we go, and we always start, as always, on a Monday as where was Jason this weekend? And as we come in here, we had a chance to chat before we went on the air, and he was on a plane, getting off a plane. So Jason, without further ado, where were you this weekend?
This weekend I was in Greenwood, Mississippi, which is actually the cotton capital of the world. But I was with my wife, accompanying her this weekend for her 20th year class reunion. So while you guys were all eating tomato soup and chili and rain, I was in 94 and 95 degree weather the entire weekend. So there you have it.
Mississippi, again, it could be literally anywhere in the country doing who knows what, Jason, but we're glad to have him back here on a Monday here in studio. And then Matthew Maurer, welcome back.
Thanks, sir.
How's everything going? Fantasy to get a fantasy football win this past weekend?
I blew him out this week, man.
That's what we like to hear. So how'd your weekend go? What stood out to you here this weekend?
Good. Jason is right. I did have tomato soup, but I had the grilled cheese. I had the grilled cheese, too, you know what I mean? Gotta have grilled cheese. You gotta have tomato soup with it.
So that's a good combination.
That's a good combination. So yeah, weekend was pretty good. I just hung in the crib and just chilled and watched everybody else run in the rain. So that's pretty much it.
Well, it was an interesting weekend, and we're going to start with probably the biggest upset of the year so far. After 2 weeks against two teams from New York, the Giants and, of course, the Jets, the Cowboys were being heralded as maybe the best team of all time after that 2-0 start. Again, the point differential of, I believe it was, 70-10 through 2 weeks in those two victories over Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. So a lot of hype, as usual, for the Cowboys guys heading into this Sunday matchup. 11.5-point favorites ahead of Fox's Game of the Week at 4:25. And I'll tell you what, the Cowboys got in a plane. They head out to Arizona, but I don't know if they ever got off it because they got absolutely pummeled. James Conner gave it to him. Josh Dobbs, who should be at NASA or working somewhere as an space engineer, ended up giving them work. 17 of 21, 189 yards and a touchdown, ran for 55 yards. And guys, the Cowboys go down. They were double-digit favorites. They lose by double digits here, 28-16, catching everybody by surprise. Dak Prescott, a late interception in that red zone. Red zone's been the issue for Dallas, at least so far this year. The defense did lose Diggs on Thursday, and we wondered what kind of impact that would have. But Jason, the Cardinals, they ran it down their throat and really made it look bad. A big win for the Cardinals. And who's to say more a little bad? Is it more about the Cowboys or more about the Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon?
This is a great coaching job by Coach Gannon. I'm going to start with that. But if you're Dallas, there is no way on God's green earth you lose this game with the talentless roster overall that the Cardinals have. You have some bright spots. You have Hollywood, you have Connor, but
could be it.
That could be it for the team. And the defense is a no-name. Buda Baker, get him out of there.
And he's injured, right? An Eagles trade target.
But honestly, this is I don't know what to say. It's terrible. Diggs being out for the season shouldn't dictate the entire rest of the defense.
Yeah, I agree.
But for all those people who are saying, "Oh, Micah Parsons is like LT, yeah, minus a sniff, but he's not LT. So let's get out the way right now.
And he was the favorite for MVP in Vegas heading into this week. So the NFL MVP, that would be. So not even just the best defensive player, best player in the league.
Dallas's linebacking core is still suspect. People forget that they can run sideline to sideline, but they're horrible in pass coverage. And it showed. But they couldn't stop the run either. So it's like, what do you do?
And Dan Quinn running a lot of that nickel defense yesterday. He was running 5 DBs out there, didn't really adjust. A lot of those linebackers weren't on the field for Dallas yesterday. And they just, again, what we saw the Eagles do last week to Minnesota, James Conner and those boys ran it right down their throat. Matt, what the biggest takeaway from you? Is this more about the Cowboys or the Cardinals?
Oh, it's about the Cowboys. I mean, let's be honest. Like, this was their game. Like, the NFL, every game is a fight every week. This is supposed to be like a bye week game. Like, this is our gimme game, right?
That's how they played it.
We have this. And look, great win by the Cardinals, but the Cardinals front office isn't happy. They're in the sweepstakes for the Caleb Williams.
That is true. I mean,
so they're not happy.
Steve Keim not going to be too happy.
But I tell you, I'm uber impressed with Joshua Dobbs. I mean, look, man, that kid was supposed to really look bad. He's been pretty competent as a QB. And you just wonder, like, if he'd have got the opportunity earlier in his career, would he even be better than what we're seeing now? I'm really impressed with him. He's played really well, and he has a great little ability to get out of the pocket when the pocket collapses, something that not a lot of people gave him credit for. So, yeah, I'm really happy for the Cardinals. But, again, at the end of the day, I think Dak Prescott, they're going to have to start trying to figure out what's going on there. I mean, seems like to me there's some confidence issues there with Dak. I don't know.
You heard you hear him after the post-game press conference, kind of gave it to the media. It was like, hey, this is what all you wanted. This is what all you wanted. You painted us as the best team, and didn't really make a lot of sense what he said after the game. What's going through Dak Prescott's mind right now?
Who knows? We're trying to figure out ourselves. You don't throw that interception in the red zone.
Former Eagle Kazir White
like that. You don't. I guess he's used to playing against them. I guess I don't know, but no, honestly, Dallas offensively doesn't look like Dallas. I don't know where CeeDee Lamb is. The loss of Dalton Schultz is showing its ugly head right now. Where's Tony Pollard?
Got a lot of carries again. Once they got in the red zone,
I mean, I can see 23 carries, 122 yards, but they weren't as meaningful.
Yeah, I agree.
It wasn't like they didn't have. Sometimes stats don't have an impact.
Yeah.
And those 122 yards didn't have an impact. And you see right here with CeeDee Lamb as 7 targets, 4 receptions, 53 yards. The ball's not being spread around right now, and Dak isn't running anymore.
I agree with that. That's a big takeaway that I've had the last couple of years. He hasn't run at all.
It's similar to another running quarterback who we'll talk about later. Not running enough. Yeah. Because sometimes you have to run to set up the pass, and that's not happening right now in Dallas.
Yep.
And you lost your safety valve on the back end in Diggs for the season. So you're going to rely on a 36-year-old Gilmore to stop the league's top receivers?
Yeah, that wasn't their
the rest of the season?
Yeah, that was not on
that's
their
just
agenda.
Recipe for disaster. But it's still early. But I think that the NFL now has a blueprint for how to beat Dallas, and it came from the lowly Arizona Cardinals.
And season high 13 penalties, over 100 yards of penalty yards for Dallas yesterday. Just another note before we move on quickly. Mike McCarthy now calling those plays for Dallas. Kellen Moore, he's now out with the LA Chargers, doing good stuff with that offense here. But again, it's a different element. The offense does look different, and that's without Kellen Moore. I think this is what we're going to see out of Mike McCarthy. Didn't look good yesterday. Cardinals get a big win. We'll see if the Cowboys can rebound. Next week, they'll have the New England Patriots, see if they can get back on track there. Again, tough defense, so we'll see how that offense for Dallas does there. Let's jump now to the Chiefs and the Bears. And before we hop into this one, guys, Chiefs blew them out 41-10, but it was 41-0. They didn't score till late in the ballgame. Dennis, I think, might have a question for us regarding this one. Done 8 for 7.5, 8 wins, 9, 10, 11.
I got them winning at 8 at NC North.
I got them winning at 8 at NC North.
All
the rankings here in front of you. Wow, Dennis, that was well done. And again, that was one of the reels that made the rounds. Got a lot of feedback there. as Jason's prediction. Not the best start, but I will say again, the Bears, they don't look good, Jay. But there's a lot of time left in this season, but they've been pretty bad. We thought coming off of last year there would be some improvement. Hasn't been a lot. 41-10, and this game was never really, a game. No. It started off with the Chiefs scoring. They were 13.5-point favorites. They went out 21-0, 28-0, 35-0. Eventually 41-0 before the Bears got on the board. And you always like to talk about the Chiefs. Kelsey's back, Taylor Swift, all that, whatever. But I think the main takeaway is we got to talk about the Bears, Jason. And you had that prediction, and you had them going Justin Fields. I think we all thought the Bears with Justin Fields, or Justin Fields especially, would take that leap. I don't think the coaching has been the best here through the first 3 games. He even said that himself. Not sure if he should have done that, but he did. And what have you seen out of the Bears? What are you seeing on tape? Why aren't they as good as they should be? Or maybe they're just not good at all. That's at least where I stand. I don't think they're very good.
On paper, it looked a lot better than what we've seen on the field. I'll take my lumps with that prediction. But again,
early, you never know.
It's still early, and NFC North isn't looking really that hot outside of Detroit, to be honest. Packers are, they're still so-so. And the Vikings, Lord, we'll talk about them in a minute. But
yeah, you might have got that. I think you did have the Vikings finishing last.
I did. But no, Justin Fields needs help. He needs a veteran QB to, bring him along as far as what he sees on the field when he's not on the field playing. They don't have that. This offensive line might be worse than that Giants line a few years back, where Eli just kept getting rocked. I think this line is similar to that line. And I want to call out the Chicago Bears wide receivers. Who are you and where are you? Because DJ Moore, where are you? Chase Claypool, you haven't been anywhere in 2 years. So it's not all Justin Fields. He's doing everything he can to will his team to win a game. It's just not happening. And then when you also trade Roquan Smith to the Ravens, you lose your best defensive player, and people look at that like, okay, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to win, or are we trying to do something else? Because you don't trade away your best player. Just re-sign him if you should have, what you should have done. You don't do that either. So it's like, what's the message? I understand Ryan Poles he's made some decent moves, but it's like, what's next?
And again, Matt, they had the opportunity. They had the number 1 overall pick, worst record in the league last year. They get that number 1 pick in the draft. They decide we're going to keep Justin Fields. No C.J. Stroud, no Bryce Young. We'll talk about C.J. Stroud in a minute. But they decide to just keep Justin Fields. They trade away that pick, bring in some assets. They go get DJ Moore, trying to give him what he needs to maybe take that next step. Hasn't taken it yet so far. Your thoughts on Justin Fields and the Bears, and maybe going forward, is Justin Fields the guy in Chicago, or maybe does he need a change of scenery? Does the team need a change of scenery? What do you think in the future holds for the Bears?
They need a makeover. They need a makeover completely, from even that terrible stadium to the everything. Everything's got to change. I mean, first of all, Justin Fields, he got sacked 3 times, and I can tell you, at least when I watched the game, there probably was about, on paper, if he'd have been a regular QB, probably would have had 7 sacks in that game. I mean, he literally was escaping out of the pocket and getting back to the scrimmage line after he got tackled. So it would have been like 7 sacks. And yeah, while we know Chris Jones and those guys are good, the Chiefs don't have that kind of a defensive line. And then I got a bigger question. What happened to Khalil Herbert? What happened to this idea that he was as good as David Montgomery? That's not showing up. Their draft pick, they in that draft where they had the number 1 pick, they reached down, traded down. I think they went 8th, got an offensive lineman. He's been really average on the offensive line. I mean, that offensive line might be the worst in football.
Yeah, it could be.
They said he's holding on to the ball about 4 seconds. In the NFL, you have about 3 seconds really to hold on. So he's holding on to an extra second. And I think some of that is, Chase Claypool, first of all, he should just quit. I mean, I'm not even trying to be rude here. Like, this guy doesn't create separation, doesn't really run the route tree really good. The biggest guy that I'm asking questions about is Darnell Mooney. I really thought he was going to have a much bigger impact, a good long ball guy, can really get open, has not been able to get open. And again, Cole Kmet.
That's a name.
Yeah, he's been on a milk carton. And I really thought with Robert Tonyan, They bring Tanyan in to kind of maybe be a secondary blocker to kind of get Cole Kmet out there more, because last year they had to bring him in to block because the O-line was so bad. I mean, he's only catching about 2 balls a game, and that's just not good enough in this era of the NFL where you have to involve the tight end in passing. It's just a bad situation all around.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to, relieve or put Justin Fields off the hook. I think he's been bad too, and I don't know if he's necessarily the future of Chicago or maybe if he'll be better somewhere else. But I do think he needs, as Jason said, before you know, he's going to need some help. I think Luke Getsy and them have done a terrible job game planning offensively going forward. And again, going into Kansas City, we all knew this might be a blowout. It certainly was. To Matt's point, running backs, Khalil Herbert can't even get a touch. It's kind of crazy. They won't run the ball at all. I know the offensive line isn't good, but you have to be able to run the ball a little bit to, as you guys said already, set up the pass. Again, Roshan Johnson even coming in, another rookie second-round pick. He looked pretty good. Haven't given him the ball either. They're kind of splitting carries between the two. But if you look at it, 8 carries for Johnson, 7 for Herbert, 15 during the game, and a lot of that was in garbage time. So we'll see if the Bears can regroup.
Oh, they will. Recipe for success. They play the Broncos in Chicago on Sunday. So.
Oh man, turn your TV off. That's the that's the primetime game. We got to keep it moving here quickly.
That game has a face for radio. That's all I'll say. Sure.
Let's talk about the Dolphins here, guys, for a second. Mike McDaniel and company dropping a 70-piece on Sean Payton in Denver, down in Miami. Jason, you like to say the city of Miami is undefeated. It certainly was yesterday. 70 points. It looks like the Denver Broncos didn't belong on the same field. Maybe they're used to that altitude over in Denver, weren't ready for the heat they were dealing with in Miami. But this was an absolute track meet, a bloodbath. Tua, 23-26, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill did whatever he wanted. He was just out there running around, I think, not even running routes. 9 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. He was jumping in the crowd, partying with the Dolphins fans out in the front row. And let's talk about the rookie, the running back tandem here. Raheem Mostert, we know what he could do there with the Niners. Matt, he was always good. His issue was always staying healthy.
Always durability.
And then beginning of the season, he does Raheem Mostert things the beginning of the year. He had 4 touchdowns yesterday, 82 yards, 3 on the ground, 60 and 1 in the air. And then the rookie, Devon Achane, who has now told us this morning that's how he wants it pronounced. Didn't tell me personally, but the media, 18 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 catches, 30 yards, and 2 more touchdowns. Guys, these running backs combined for 8 touchdowns.
Crazy.
Matt, thank goodness you are going up against them in fantasy this week. What do you think about the Dolphins dropping 7?
I mean, I wasn't really that impressed. I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I've done this. I've done this on Madden. You know what I mean? On Madden,
right.
I've put up like
5-minute
80 points.
quarters. Yeah,
5-minute quarters. Put up like 80 points. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was an alright game. It's not the best game. I'm just joking. Now, seriously, it was devastating. And Tyreek Hill, I think when it's all said and done, I think he's going to finish as a top 10 wideout of all time. I mean, this guy there's really no way to stop him. You just literally have to hope when he gets the ball that he drops it, or trips over his feet, because once he gets going, it's just impossible. And look, Mostert, a lot of people may not know this, but when he was with the Niners, he's actually one of the fastest clock guys in game running. So they have speed. And look, this is going to be problems for whoever matches up with them, because all they're going to keep on doing is getting more and more confidence. And I'm really happy to see that Tua has been pretty clean in the pocket. Hasn't really been. That's been the huge issue. So look, I think they're going to be trouble this year if they continue this up. So yeah, hats off to them.
Offensive lines looked great. That's been the big thing. Is Matt Armstead played yesterday? I mean, I believe he did, if I'm correct. They blew them off the ball all game. Tua's protected the run game. The holes, you could drive a truck through some of those holes that the offensive line was opening up yesterday. But Jason, I want to talk about the Broncos. Sean Payton comes in, he gets that USA Today article, he badmouths Nathaniel Hackett publicly, talking about, hey, we're not going to do this way. It was the worst coaching job in the history of the NFL last year. I know what I'm doing. We're going to change the culture initially. We're going to come out way better. And I will say, Russell Wilson, the offense, they do look better than what we saw last year, because there's no way it could have been any worse. In points per possession, they're actually up there coming into week 3 in the NFL. They just couldn't get a lot of possessions. That defense is one of the worst defenses I've ever seen through these first 3 weeks. Just what are your overall takeaways with the Denver Broncos? High expectations coming in after that coaching change. Kenny fixed Russell Wilson. They get beat or give up 70 points. Thoughts on the Broncos quickly?
Trash. Oscar the Grouch, dumpster fire. I don't know, leftover food trash. I mean, trash juice leaking. All forms of trash. Sean Payton without Drew Brees. is more Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier than he is a good head coach.
Oh, you had to take a shot at 2 Florida Gators. You took a
So I'm
shot at
talking
2 Florida
about
Gators in
double
one.
entendre on you.
In
You know
one.
what I mean?
Oh, man.
I mean, no,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really bad. Like, it's not even,
That's battle rap worthy right
it's
there.
really bad. And then your best defensive player was traded to the Dolphins last year in Bradley Chubb. So, I mean, from the
And we
Broncos.
haven't seen Ramsey yet in
And
Miami.
Ramsey isn't there. And we talk about all the points that the Dolphins scored. Waddle didn't make this list.
That's right. He was out.
He didn't play.
concussion. Yeah.
So imagine how many more points he would have scored if he's out
They
there.
could have done. They did whatever they wanted. Again, Mike McDaniel was a ball boy for the Denver Broncos growing up in Colorado. Didn't get an interview when the Broncos head coaching job interview. They didn't think highly enough of him to interview him. So I think he took that a little bit to heart yesterday.
He took it personal, as Jordan
And
was
he
saying.
did
He
take
took
it
it
personal.
Jordan.
Again,
He took it personal.
I have a nice little ticket on Mike McDaniel to win Coach of the Year. So keep it rolling, Miami. We got to keep that going, Mike McDaniel. We'll
Super
see
Bowl
if
pick.
that goes down there. Let's keep it moving to a game that I thought was a good game on Sunday. Again, another unexpected outcome. If you go back here as I look at the first thing I want to read to you guys from the weekend, there were 12 games decided by one score in week 2. That was tied for the most in a single week in NFL history. The average margin of victory was just 7 points. Not really the case here in week number 3. Just 5 of the 14 games have been decided by a single score. Average margin of victory, 16.5 points. So a lot of blowouts here in week 3, and one of them was this unexpected outcome between the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars, an AFC South matchup. Trevor Lawrence against number 2 overall pick C.J. Stroud, who a lot of us on the draft show were really fond of. Had him as my number 1 quarterback coming out. He looks pretty good, guys. 20 of 30, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. They were 7.5-point underdogs in this one. They beat them 37-17. Trevor Lawrence struggles continue a little bit here. 27 of 40, 279 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Etienne did pretty well on the ground, 19 carries for 88 yards. Calvin Ridley nowhere to be found yesterday, just 3 catches for 40 yards. Matt, you were big on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars coming in. Not the best start here through 3 weeks, but again, they're the defending AFC South champion. C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell, the rookies, they gave him work yesterday on the road. What are your thoughts? And the Jaguars bounce back, and what do you think of Trevor Lawrence so far?
I mean, I still think Trevor Lawrence will get it. He'll right the ship. He'll get going. But I do want to say, I think C.J. Stroud is going to break the Ohio State quarterback.
Oh man, that'd be something.
The jinx. I mean, they haven't had great quarterbacks out of
Troy
Ohio
Smith.
State since.
Joe Burrow? Sorry.
Well, Joe Burrow
they
was there.
can't claim
transfer.
Joe Burrow.
But they don't even claim him now. But like, what is like Art Schlaster or something like that from like the 80s or something? Where he's
Kirk Herbstreit said that.
yeah, Kirk Herbstreit. Oh my God. Yeah, but no, Stroud looks good out there, man. I mean, he looks a lot better than. And look, it's early. Only 2 games in, but like he looks better than Bryce Young. He looks better than a lot of the guys that you see as rookie. He really settles in that pocket. He seems to roll out of it at the right times when the pocket collapses. So, yeah, I really like what I see from Stroud, and I think long term they finally found their QB. It's been a while, and maybe they can help. Now they have this Watson situation behind them, and they can just move forward now.
As long as C.J. Stroud avoids the massage parlor.
Yeah, that's a
all right.
fact. That's a fact.
You guys don't get them the suits, brother.
We're going to move on here quickly. Jason, any comments before we move on about the Jaguars? Again, dropping to 1-2. They did have a comeback win over the Colts in week 1. They lose to the Chiefs last week and now drop this one to the Texans.
Well, all the games have been like, okay, what's going on right now? I think it's the new offense trying to incorporate everyone. I think it's going to take another couple of weeks, but once they do that, they should be clicking. But this says more about the Texans. A great win.
I agree.
For them, and that's it. That's all I got.
I'm with you there. Tank Dell and C.J. Stroud, 2 rookies to really look out for this Texan team. D'Amico Ryan is doing a great job already through 3 weeks. Even the offense looks a lot better there with, again, bringing over somebody from the San Francisco to be his offensive coordinator. Name escapes me right now. But now, Jason, let's head to the big one here for you. I don't have many notes on this one. This is Colts beat the Ravens in overtime. All I have here is, Jason, what happened? And then what are your takeaways? 22-19, Matt Gay kicks, I believe, 5 field goals over 50 yards. Is that right? To take down Baltimore. Todd Monken coming in, supposed to have this new high-powered offense through the air. Haven't seen it just yet. I just put the camera on Jason. Jason, takeaways from the Ravens' loss to the Colts, a team that you can't even say their name.
Yeah, I would never pronounce the C word. It's Indy. America, how y'all doing today? So, about this game yesterday, right? You were supposed to play to win the game, but the Baltimore Ravens found every way to lose the game yesterday. There was no way that this game should have been as close as it was either way, or that should have come out on the opposite side of it with a loss. You were an 8-point favorite playing against a backup quarterback who's more known for his mustache than his football play. The secondary is horrible. It's putrid right now. We're playing people from the stands, section 513, row 2, seat 1, on defense right now in the secondary.
Just put the ticket on the screen,
Yeah,
right? Then you make your way down to the field. They'll give you
come
your
on
pads and
down.
helmet.
Get a helmet in the locker room at halftime, you know. But also, there were some horrible calls in this game. There was a missed face mask on Zay Flowers in the fourth quarter. There was also a missed pass interference call on Zay Flowers. But it shouldn't have even gotten to that point to rely on a call to get you out of the game. And Zay Flowers had the biggest blunder of the entire game. There were 2 minutes and 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They kicked the ball off. The coach do after the C words do after kicking the field goal, tie the game back up. Zay Flowers catches the ball. Indianapolis only had 1 timeout left. All Zay Flowers had to do was run maybe 4 or 5 yards, stay in bounds.
Rookie.
2-minute warning. They have no more timeouts. You run the clock out. Better chance of kicking a different field goal. Game's over. Actually, the Ravens were still up 19-16 when that happened. So
Rookie.
it was piss poor clock management, a bunch of fumbles. Baltimore Ravens. Where is Mark Andrews in this offense? Mr. Munkin, I understand Zay Flowers catches a lot of passes for you, but you're new to Baltimore. Know that the offense runs through Mark Andrews. I don't care who's hurt. I don't care who's not on the field. It goes through Mark Andrews, and Lamar has to run more. He has to run to set up the pass. And right now, you're not giving him those zone reads enough to get it going. Now, the offense, the ball's flying around passing-wise. It looks great. But it's not sustainable unless you have a solid run game right now, and that's what's happening. Lamar's not running. Gus Edwards was hurt. Actually, we don't have any starting running backs right now.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon
Melvin
might be,
Gordon
coming out the tunnel
and
next
King
week.
and Drake. So, Baltimore,
Yeah.
get it together. I know people were hurt, but it's still no excuse. You play to win a game. You should have beat Indianapolis.
5 targets for Mark Andrews. To Jason's point again, as he mentioned, used to have a lot more than that. Zay Flowers, 10 targets in the game yesterday. Matt, I know you had a few comments here as well. What do you think is this Todd Monken offense? We've been hearing a lot about it over the summer. It's only been 3 weeks, and things can come and things can start to click a little bit. Lamar Jackson did able to run to win yesterday. What have you seen from the former MVP and this Ravens offense?
Well, I think Lamar Jackson's played well. I hats off to him. I mean, he's been able to keep them afloat despite not having really a running game, despite Mark Andrews not really being involved, despite having to lean on a rookie at wideout. So, I got to give him all the respect in the world. My issue, though, is the offense. I don't like what I'm seeing. And look, again, it's 2 weeks into the season. This isn't indicative of what's going to happen, say, week 13, week 12. It might totally get these kinks out, and it's possible. I mean, we've seen it with the Chiefs. I think we definitely see it with them. I do think that one thing's got to happen with the Ravens. They're going to have to figure out, one way or another, do they want Lamar to establish the run? Because with me, I think Lamar plays better when he establishes the run and then creates passing. I think when you just put him in a situation where he has to pass first, then you're saying then run, I think that's disadvantages him. I think it puts a lot more pressure on the defense when he establishes the fact that he'll run. So that when you're on defense, you're like, oh God, is he going to run? Is he going to? You got to spy him a lot more. Sometimes in this offense, at least right now, again, it's 2 weeks in, there seems to be a situation where they'll go into this we're going to pass. And then, you see Lamar being somewhat conservative about running the ball. I think he has to play with a little bit more freedom. And look, I think he will eventually. But, yeah, at the end of the day, I think this offense is still working out the kinks. I think that's what cratered this win for them. But, look, I was really shocked at the end of the day about Justin Tucker. I really thought he was going to make that kick. I said, this guy's
just-
got it.
just
It
short of
just missed it.
And
Crazy.
here's the thing. We expect greatness 24/7. It was still a 62-yard
Oh, yeah, it was
field
crazy.
goal.
It was crazy.
However,
Didn't stop Matthew Prater against the Cowboys yesterday.
Oh.
62. But again, and that to your point though, Justin Tucker's the best kicker. He's the best kicker of all time.
can you name a Philadelphia Eagles kicker?
Jake Elliott, University of Florida Gators, baby.
And you trust him from where? Okay.
I kick him.
All right.
I kick him
40.
60. No, don't get me wrong. No disrespect. When I heard 62-yarder just kicked, hey, Prater kicked this 62-yarder. No disrespect. If I could have one kicker in the league, it'd be that man.
Matt Prater did that in Arizona.
Seriously.
He ain't doing that with the air stick.
But I'm with you. If I could have one kicker, it would be that man for sure. I thought he was going to make it too. I really did.
I looked so
when they
good.
were lining
I was
up,
shocked when he didn't
I know.
make it. I was like, he didn't make it.
I was
But
surprised. too.
Matt Gay, gotta give him a shout out.
That-
5 field goals
You're
of
right.
50 yards or more.
And it's
Never
insane.
been done in NFL history.
Insane.
Yeah.
So it took that to beat him. We'll see. Again, the Colts have been playing good football through 3 weeks, even without Anthony Richardson.
They actually have. I know I'm not supposed to cheer for them. I'm not at all, but they've been consistent all 3 weeks
Shane
of the season.
Steichen, they look pretty good defensively as well. I mean, even without Anthony Richardson yesterday, they were still able to get the win. Colts looking good, or looking better, I should say, this year, coming off of that Jeff Saturday ending to the year last year as the interim head coach. Now, guys, let's talk into Monday Night Football just around the corner. 7:15 kickoff on ABC. You get Buck and Aikman for the Eagles and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Both teams coming in at 2-0, combined 4-0. Guys, 2 of the 4 undefeated teams are in this game tonight. Only 4 remaining through 3 weeks. So that's pretty interesting just to start. We'll see if the Eagles' passing game can get going. A big storyline, A.J. Brown demanding the ball more after last week's win against the Vikings. Baker Mayfield has been pretty good as well, guys, through 2 games for Tampa Bay in his first year down with the Bucs, taking over for Tom Brady. So a lot to talk about here. But let's just talk a little bit here, Jason, about some of these storylines. What are you looking to here specifically in tonight's Monday night matchup with our Eagles and the Bucs?
I'm looking at the matchup of the Bucs wide receivers versus the Eagles defensive backs. I think the advantage goes to the Bucs in that matchup. So if Baker Mayfield can stay clean, it might spell trouble for the Eagles because I don't think anyone in secondary can run with either Godwin or with Mike Evans.
Hopefully they'll have Slay maybe try to. Bradbury returns. He'll be playing nickel corner tonight, so he'll be in the slot. We'll see how that affects Godwin. Maybe he'll be there. Slay might travel with Mike Evans. But again, those guys have been lights out. Evans has been unbelievable to start the year. What Baker Mayfield, as Jason said, I don't know if anybody can cover them. You hope to slow them down. There's going to be a guy. Could be Darius Slay there. Now, what are you looking for tonight in this one?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I think the Eagles' defensive line has to put pressure on Baker Mayfield. When his feet aren't set, he's a terrible quarterback. But look, he's played remarkably well this so far.
Did that come out your mouth? What?
Yeah, I know.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, I'm gonna have
A
to
compliment?
definitely have to use some Listerine when I get home. But for right now, look, he's played well, and I just think that if they want to win this game, they're gonna have to battle it in the trenches, and they're gonna have to get some pressure on him because that's the only way he's gonna fold.
Again, Bucs defense. Todd Bowles has that defense playing really well here to start the season for Tampa Bay, as Jason said. Even if you look at the flip side, Tampa Bay's been great against the run. We saw the Eagles gash Minnesota for over 200 yards on the ground last week. Tampa Bay more vulnerable through the air, so we'll see if they put the ball in the air more tonight. That's what I'll be focused on to see. Again, a big part of that is that Eagles pass rush. I agree with Matt 100%. You put pressure on Baker Mayfield, things can change very, very quickly once he starts turning the ball over. Has not turned the ball over yet this year, so they're 2-0. Eagles going to have to force some turnovers there. And again, we'll see if they can put the ball in the air and take advantage of the Bucs secondary, which isn't as, I think, depleted, or I guess I should say, as the Eagles. I think the Eagles are more vulnerable on the back end than the Bucs, but I do think the Eagles can take advantage of it as well. But let's now get to our No Huddle, our little NASCAR segment here. We're going to give you some quick questions. We're going to run through these quickly for the Monday Night Football preview and give everybody at home maybe what we're thinking. So let's start here, guys, quickly. More passing yards, Jalen Hurts or Baker Mayfield tonight, Jason?
Baker Mayfield.
Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
2 for Hurts. More rushing yards, Kenneth Gainwell or DeAndre Swift. That backfield going to be shared for the first time tonight, Matt.
Swift.
Swift.
Swift. Let's keep it receiving yards, Mike Evans or A.J. Brown, Jason?
Mike Evans.
A.J. Brown.
I'm going Evans.
I think they're going to force feed A.J. Brown tonight after what happened last week. Deontay Smith, over under 61.5 receiving yards, Matt.
Over.
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 Dallas Goedert, 37.5 receiving yards, Jason. Been a slow start for him.
Under again.
Under.
Under.
Chris Godwin, the Delaware native, 52.5 yards for Chris Godwin tonight, Matt.
Yep, I'm going over.
James Bradbury going to be in that slot corner. Under.
Over. We have like Godwin's now the number 1 receiver on any other team in the NFL.
He is. He definitely is. I think they'll game plan for the Delaware native. Jalen Hurts, over under. Hasn't been rushing a lot, 40.5 rushing yards. Can he do it tonight against Tampa's rush defense?
I think he'll have to go over tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to go under. Something about him makes me hesitate. He just doesn't want to run as much. He looks a little bit different out there. Matt, what are you going with?
Oh, he's going to go over.
Over. I'm going to take the under there. Now, guys, anytime touchdown, either team, who scores tonight?
Ooh,
That's tough.
that is tough.
I'm going A.J. Brown.
I'm going Swift.
Rashad White.
Rashad White, I like that. I do like the Rashad White
I think
pick.
Godwin picks up his first TD.
And now quick picks, guys. Eagles minus 5.5. Over under set at 44. What do you like there, Jason?
Tampa Bay.
With the points or to win outright?
Get this win.
Money line Tampa Bay is Jason going. Ooh, that's a nice. You can probably get a good price there. Matt, what are you feeling?
Eagles.
Eagles, what, you could give them 5.5 or win outright?
Yeah.
Eagles laying the points. Give me the Eagles to win.
Don't sound too confident there, buddy.
I'm trying to determine if I want to take them with the points, if I want to have them lay the 5.5,
Sounds all shaky
if they
there.
can win by 6. Because I think, again, Tampa Bay is going to be tough. I said this about the Patriots. They're on the road. I think playing in this heat down in Florida is going to be, they practice in Philly all week until,
Where's this Eagles swagger at, man?
Hey, you got it. They're going to win the game.
So
there
much
it is.
swag
I just don't
last
know.
year.
Again, I'm talking about the line at 5.5. Eagles win. Not sure if they cover the 5.5, but I'll take the Eagles to win outright.
Just last
for
year,
sure.
y'all was riding high, man.
You must think
get
it's
ahead of myself.
0-2 again. You still have bad memories of that championship game, Bucks and the Eagles? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I bring that up again?
Oh,
My
It's a
bad.
heck of a defense they
My
had.
bad.
down-
13-6.
down in Tampa that year. But
right.
again, Eagles to win, not
terrible.
covered. Quickly, guys, we got to get to. We're going to do one more no huddle offense here with the other Monday Night Football game, the 15 Rams and the Bengals.
I'm not watching this game.
Well, we're going to find out. Joe Burrow plays. It might be watchable. Rams are a lot better. Stafford over under 252.5 yards.
Over.
252.5. Over. More receiving yards. Puka Nacua or Jamar Chase. Who thought we'd be having this conversation?
Chase.
Who? Puka Nacua. Give me Puka Nacua, the rookie, to get more yards than Jamar Chase tonight. Pending, we'll see
I'll
if Joe
second that.
Burrow plays. Let's see, more rushing yards. Kyron Williams or Joe Mixon about all the backs tonight?
Kyron Williams.
Kyrie Williams.
Yeah.
Give me Joe Mixon just to go off right here. Anytime touchdown. Who scores in this one?
Give me Chase.
Boyd.
T. Higgins. I'll go with T. Higgins then. And then picks, guys, for this one. Bengals -3. Joe Burrow has not been announced if he's going to play or not. He's really pushing to play. The line in Vegas says he's going to play. It wouldn't be 3 for them if he wasn't. I don't know if he's going to personally, but Vegas is telling us he is. Who do you guys like?
I'm not picking the Bengals because I'm a AFC North. The Rams.
Rams?
Go ahead.
Come on, Rams.
Rams and the Rams. I'll take the Bengals pending Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow doesn't start. I'm going to take the Rams. Bengals have started 0-2 before. They've rebounded every year. So give me Cincinnati in the back half of the doubleheader here on Monday Night Football. All right, that'll do it for us today. Final words, guys. Eagles coming on in about half an hour on Monday Night Football on ABC. Final words on a Monday.
This multiple Monday Night Football game idea is dumb.
Axe it.
Please, it's
I'm
dumb.
with it.
It's,
I'm
it's
with you
about
there.
as smart as Amazon Prime Football on Thursdays. It's all dumb.
ESPN's trying to spend all this money, and they're like, they have the rights to so many games. Like, if we have all these rights, we only get, we can't air them on weekends. When can we air them? Well, I guess we'll have to air 2 on Mondays. I hate it as well. Matt, final words?
Shout out to Captain Mid for continuing to be mid.
We didn't get to Matt's mid-performance of the week due to the Eagles playing on a Monday, but next week,
Love you, man.
that segment will be back. We'll have some other segments we'll debut. There he is. Could he be a New York Jet here in a couple of weeks? Some rumors swirling around. The Vikings may throw in the towel. and
Vikings
send
might
him
as well throw in the
to
towel.
the New York
I
Jets.
think so
Because
too.
Captain Mid ain't looking the same.
Kirk Cousins or Andy Dalton. One of those guys is going to be a New York Jet here in the
Red
next
Rocket?
couple
The
weeks.
Red
The Red
Rocket?
Rifle, baby. Let's do it. That'll do it for us on a Monday. Let's watch the Eagles at 7:15 on ABC.
Go Bucks.